All right, it is 5:01, Monday, August 18th, 2025, and we will call the special council meeting to order. If you could please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So with that, we will jump right into the agenda item to consider approval of hiring Greg Fashing to the Public Works Supervisor position.
Thank you, Mayor. The Personnel Committee met on Wednesday of last week and conducted 3 interviews. We had received 11 applicants total. 3 were interviewed, and after we went through all 3 interviews, we are formally recommending up from the Personnel Committee a recommendation to hire Greg Fashing to the Public Works Supervisor position. Greg joins us from the city of Chanhassen as a utility operator where he's at currently. Before that, he was with the city of Shorewood, and then prior to that, the city of Excelsior, where he started in 2007. And he brings us his experience in water and wastewater, as well as public works in general. The Personnel Committee is recommending the City Council approve the hire at Public Works Supervisor Step 3, that is $40.93 per hour, as well as preloading 1 week, 5 days of PTO into his bank. Little additional information on that when we look at the timeline of events, because we had amended the schedule. Greg comes to us with quite a few years of collections experience on the wastewater and his Class C water license. On the wastewater end, it was a lot of discussion about eventually getting to that Class A license of our own. The timeline for events on that, the maximum amount of experience you can convert over from a collections license into full-fledged licensing is 3 years. After that, the way the math works, nothing above that converts over. So we'll start here in September of 2025. He would complete a 1.5 years of experience at the facility. He can then combine that with a 1.5 years of his collections experience to have the 3 years requisite to go for his Class C license. After that, he'd spend another 1.5 years at the facility managing it, and then he could use the other half of the 3 years, another 1.5 of collections experience, to then go for his Class B license. And then this is where the difference is made. You have to hold a Class B license for 2 years before you can get your Class A license. So that's where the collections experience starts to no longer matter. So at that point, he'd have his 6 years, and then at 2 years later, after he gets his Class B, then he would be eligible for his Class A. So the fastest timeline we're looking at is 5 years to having a Class A at the facility. So with that, we would be looking at if Kyle decides to stay on for 5 years, or in lieu of that, there are people like Doug Kammer formerly from the city of Watertown, whose side business is exclusively doing Class A wastewater treatment facility management in the interim. So we'd have a Doug Kammer or somebody equivalent come in and do it if the time comes when Kyle wouldn't be able to.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for Nick before we look for motions and enter into discussion? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the hiring of Greg Fashing as the Public Works Supervisor position at a salary of $40.93 per hour with 5 days of PTO preloaded into his bank.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? And Nick, just to clarify, there were no A applicants, correct?
There was one A wastewater applicant, but they didn't have any water licensure, so they did not qualify under the minimum requirements.
Perfect. Yeah, unfortunately, this is the position we're in. We're going to have to get through the 5 years, and I think we'll have a good plan in place to make sure we still have someone running the site, obviously at a reasonable price. So with no other comments then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries 5-0. So with that, we'll welcome Greg to the city and look forward to working with him. So with that, we look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second by McNeely. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Thank you.
Let's help.